My name's Tim Dodd with Dunbar Printing and Graphics.
First step is we receive the artwork from WVU,
and our pre-press department needs to review that artwork, make sure that it's acceptable for our printing standards. Then we schedule everything for the press. It takes a good full day to do the brochures and the envelopes both. But when they're running it at the press, they're adjusting their collars, and that can take, like for the brochures, that can take several hundred sheets of paper to run that through the press. And then once everything's dialed in, then basically those original sheets that we use, those are set aside. Those are actually trashed at that point, so they don't get mixed into the final printing. And then we're ready to actually print at that time. Once the printing's completed, we have to let it set for 24 hours before we can handle and do anything with it. It takes a good 24 hours for those inks to dry. Once the envelopes are finished, they go back in the back to our mail room. That's where we have to print all the addresses on everything. Once the addressing is complete, then all the envelopes are brought up to a room where we have where we're at now, where all the seeds are stored. But when the seeds arrive, they come in on a large truck. This year there was 3 pallets. Each of those pallets were about 7 feet tall, so there was a considerable amount of seeds that arrived. It takes a good half a day to unload those. It takes another half a day to a day to get them in this room and sort them all out. Once the brochure is printed, it's had time to dry. It goes over to the other side of our shop, which is our bindery department. We cut those down to the finished size of what the brochure is. The cutter has a good bit of strength. You can cut probably cut about 500 sheets at a time on those. That's done before we start folding them. There's different speeds we can set up on that, but the folding machine, in this case, with it just being a single page brochure, we was able to run those through fairly quickly. That takes another day to fold those because it's a pretty large quantity on those. Then we have everything ready. Then we have all of our people lined up, ready to start stuffing the seeds, and that's about a 3-week process. And then after we stuff all the seeds in well over 10,000 envelopes, then we have to take all the envelopes back to our mailing department. Then we have to sort everything in the different zones of all the cities throughout the state that we're mailing to. And then we pack all that up in trays, and then we're ready to load it onto our van and take it to the post office.
At that point, you'll receive it at your mailbox.